everyone and welcome back to the Chemistry Box, your one-step chemistry guide. In the previous video, we started to understand what is isomerism and what are the different types of isomerism. जहाँ पे हमने समझा था कि आइसोमेरिज्म जो है ब्रॉडली दो टाइप्स में क्लासिफाई होते हैं, दैट इज स्ट्रक्चरल आइसोमेरिज्म एंड स्टीरियो आइसोमेरिज्म. अंडर दैट वी आर गोइंग टू नाउ डीपली डिग इनटू स्ट्रक्चरल आइसोमेरिज्म. तो सबसे पहले समझते हैं व्हाट इज स्ट्रक्चरल आइसोमेरिज्म. A broad definition of structural isomerism is that these are such structures which have the same molecular formula but they differ in their structural formula. That means they would be having different structures but they all together have the same molecular formula. Now these structural formula or these structures would be different on the basis of these 6 different types. Now that means what? Structural isomerism is classified into further these kind of isomerism. So we have chain isomerism, position isomerism, functional isomerism, ring chain isomerism, metamerism and tautomerism. Now out of this, in this video, we are going to understand what is chain, position and functional isomerism with examples. The first type under structural isomerism is chain isomerism. So let's begin with what is chain isomerism. In chain isomerism, we have same molecular formula but there is different main carbon chain length. That means the main carbon chain, the longest chain of carbon differs in the isomers. Let's see the example so that we understand it better. Now in the first example, I have taken N-butane. N-butane where all the carbon atoms in the straight chain are over here and we have C4. That means there are 4 carbon atoms and total number of hydrogen is 10. So we have C4H10. Now in the isomer, as you can see, in the longest carbon chain, there are 3 carbon atoms over here and the 4th one is outside the chain. This structure has a molecular formula of C4 and total number of hydrogen as H10. That means both these structures have the same molecular formula but they differ in the longest carbon atom chain length. That means here the total number of carbon atoms in the longest chain are 4 while here we have only 3 carbon atoms in the longest chain. Therefore, this kind of structures are chain isomers of each other. So we have N-butane and 2-methyl propane. Let's take another example so that we understand it better. We have N-pentane. N-pentane, that means 5 carbon atoms in the longest chain. So we have over here. Now this is C5. Now this is C5 and total number of hydrogen is 12. Now if we see in the other structure, which I suppose is the isomer of N-pentane, I have 2-methyl butane. That means the total number of carbon atoms in the longest chain is 4 carbon atoms. So therefore it is butane and none of the carbon atom is outside the ring. If you look carefully, the total number of carbon atoms and hydrogen atoms will come up to C5 and H12 respectively. That means both of these structures have the same molecular formula. If I see the other structure that I have over here is neopentane, where I have 2 branches in the longest carbon chain which consist of 3 carbon atoms. That means here in this structure the longest carbon chain contains 5 carbon atoms. In the second structure I have 4 carbon atoms and in the third structure I have only 3 carbon atoms in the longest chain. But the total number of carbon atoms and hydrogen atoms remain C5 and H12 respectively. So that means these kind of structures are chain isomers of each other where they have same molecular formula but different main carbon chain length, or the longest carbon chain has different number of carbon atoms in them. Let's go on to the next type of structural isomerism. The second type of structural isomerism is position isomerism. What happens in position isomerism? There is different position of the functional group. Now let's take an example. What I have here is 2-amino pentane. That means there is a pentane ring and the functional group, that is amino group, is on the second carbon atom. So therefore it is 2-amino pentane. The molecular formula remains C5H13N. Now in the second structure that I have is, there is again a pentane ring but this time the functional group, that is amino group, is on the third carbon atom and therefore this is 3-amino pentane. Look into this very carefully. We have the same functional group in both the structures. We have the same number of carbon atoms and hydrogen atoms, but still there is the different position of functional group. That is, in the longest carbon chain, the functional group is placed on different carbon. Therefore, this makes them position isomers of each other. So in position isomers, the position of the functional group is different in the isomers. Let's look into the third type of isomer under structural isomerism. The third type of structural isomerism is functional isomerism. Let's check out what is functional isomerism. In functional isomerism, you have same molecular formula, but there are different functional groups present in the molecules. Like for example, I have these two structures. One is propanone, that is, it contains a ketone group, while the other one is propanol, that means it contains a aldehyde group. Both the structures have C3, that means they have 3 carbon atoms. There are total number of 6 hydrogens and there is only 1 oxygen. This is the same case for this structure also. So we have 3 carbon atoms, there are 6 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. That means both of these structures have the same molecular formula, but one of them has a ketone group and the other one has aldehyde group. So therefore they are functional isomers of each other. If we look at the other example, I have ethanol molecule over here. In ethanol molecule, as you can see, the functional group is an alcohol, and the other structure that I have is methoxymethane. That means here my functional group is an ether. Now if you see carefully, both of the structures have C2, H6 and O. That means there are 2 carbon atoms in both the structures. As you can see, there are total number of 6 hydrogens and 1 only oxygen. Now both of these structures have the same molecular formula, but they have different functional group altogether, and therefore they are completely 2 different compounds. Such kind of structures are called as functional isomers of each other. These are the 3 types of isomers that we have discussed today under structural isomerism. Now, the other 3 types of structural isomerism will be discussed in the next video. I hope you have understood the first 3 types and you are very excited about the next 3 types. Stay tuned for the other video where you can find out about the other 3 types of structural isomerism. Till then, like this video, share this video with your friends, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the next video. Till then, I see you in the next video. Bye-bye.